Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into one of the absolute biggest engineering headaches out there right now, taking a large language model from a basic, functional prototype all the way to a rock-solid enterprise production system. It's an intensely complex architectural journey, but we're going to untangle exactly how it all works.
Let's be real for a second, because we have to immediately shatter this illusion that firing off a few simple API calls in a Jupyter notebook is the same thing as rigorous AI engineering. It's just not. Building a prototype feels super straightforward, right? But out in the wild, LLMs are incredibly compute-intensive. They're totally memory-bound, and worst of all, they're non-deterministic. Traditional software engineering principles honestly weren't built to handle systems that generate randomized stochastic outputs. So to keep these systems running at scale, engineering teams have to undergo a massive paradigm shift.
Here is the roadmap for how we're going to cover this today. First, the Jupyter prototype illusion. Second, beating the memory bottleneck. Third, speed and model compression. Fourth, CI/CD for unpredictable AI. Fifth, automated judges and observability. And lastly, runtime security and guardrails. Kicking things off with part 1, the Jupyter prototype illusion. Why deterministic engineering isn't enough. Okay, so here's the core issue. Deploying AI without strict LLM ops is basically a catastrophic anti-pattern. It leads straight to massive system degradation. In traditional software, if you change core logic without automated testing, that's a huge red flag, right? But in AI, developers are constantly making these ad hoc edits to prompts right inside a dashboard UI and just pushing them live. This totally bypasses version control. And what happens? You get these silent production failures where the model's behavior just drifts unpredictably, and it totally wrecks downstream business outcomes. We literally have to separate the build phase from the deployment phase. Moving right along to part 2, beating the memory bottleneck. Serving engines and the von Neumann enemy. Get this, an uncompressed 175 billion parameter model needs over 350 gigabytes of video RAM just to hold its weights. And honestly, it gets worse. When the model is generating text, it relies on a key value cache, the KV cache, to remember past tokens. In a naive setup, allocating memory for this cache causes massive fragmentation. We're talking about wasting up to 80% of your available memory. The whole system just becomes entirely bandwidth bound. So how do we fix this? It's fascinating to see how different serving engines attack this memory crisis. Take VLLM, for example. It uses this breakthrough called paged attention, which actually operates exactly like virtual memory in a traditional operating system. It divides the KV cache into these non-contiguous blocks, practically eliminating memory waste and letting you drastically increase your batch size for concurrent requests. Then you've got NVIDIA's Tensor RTLLM. That one compiles the model into a highly optimized static graph, which gives you just unmatched, sustained throughput for long-term production. And finally, SGLang, which uses radix attention. This automatically reuses the KV cache across requests that share common prefixes, so it's a total lifesaver for multi-turn chatbots or really complex RAG pipelines. Now, if you want to bypass that memory bottleneck even further, engineers deploy something called speculative decoding. This is brilliant because it shifts the workload from being memory-bound to compute-bound. Generating text one single token at a time is painfully inefficient, so this technique lets the system predict and mathematically verify multiple tokens all at the exact same time. Picture a high-speed parallel assembly line. In step 1, a faster, much smaller draft worker rapidly proposes a sequence of tokens. Then in step 2, your massive target model verifies all that work simultaneously in a single forward pass. Since the target model's cache for the original prompt is already sitting there in memory, it uses its idle compute cores to verify the whole batch instantly. Finally, step 3 uses strict mathematical rejection sampling to guarantee zero loss in quality. If the target model agrees with the draft, boom, the tokens are accepted. If not, it instantly drops the invalid predictions and corrects them. It's a seriously incredible architectural speedup. Which brings us to part 3, speed and model compression, the mathematical paradigms of quantization. If you take those model parameters and squash them from a continuous 16-bit format down to a 4-bit integer format, you physically cut the VRAM requirement in half. That is a massive reduction in capital expenditure. Methods like AWQ, that's activation-aware weight quantization, pull this off by running a small calibration dataset to find the 1% of weights that are highly salient, or, the really important ones. It gives those crucial weights more precision while aggressively compressing the rest. So you get this massive memory reduction, but with only a tiny, almost unnoticeable drop in quality. But the real game changer here arrives with NVIDIA's Blackwell architecture and NVFP4.
Instead of rigid integer quantization, this uses a 4-bit floating point format that retains a much higher dynamic range, so you achieve near lossless compression. And here is the wildest part. On certain reasoning-heavy math benchmarks, like AME 2025, NVFP4 actually improves accuracy over the full precision baseline. This happens because the low-precision noise acts as a regularization layer, smoothing things out and preventing the model from overfitting. Who would have thought less precision could mean better math scores?
Stepping further up the stack, we arrive at Part 4, CI/CD for Unpredictable AI, enforcing the code as law paradigm.
We really have to embrace this code as law mindset. We absolutely cannot hard-code prompts as simple text strings anymore. We have to treat them as versioned artifacts. When a developer changes a prompt, the system needs to prevent in-place edits. Instead, it generates an immutable, cryptographically hashed proof bundle. That artifact travels with the deployment everywhere it goes, proving exactly what was tested, who approved it, and what the fallback plan is if things go sideways. Let's walk through this rigorous enterprise AI flywheel. It's a strict pipeline. Once a change is committed and registered, you can't just use traditional unit tests, right? The AI is unpredictable. Instead, we run an automated evaluation suite against predefined golden datasets. If the evaluation scores drop below your configured threshold, a quality gate steps in and automatically blocks the deployment. From there, validated configurations move into shadow deployments that mirror real production traffic. This guarantees that no degraded model ever gets the chance to touch live user interactions.
Part 5, Automated Judges and Observability, Grading Generative AI at Enterprise Scale. Now, because human review is just impossible at these speeds, the pipeline relies on using LLMs as judges. But here's the catch. When you have an AI grading another AI, things can get pretty weird pretty fast. The judge might show verbosity bias, meaning it inherently favors longer answers even if a shorter one is actually better. Or worse, it might show self-enhancement bias, where it has a huge preference for text generated by its own underlying model family. To fight this, pipelines mandate strict controls, like automated A/B order swapping, just to ensure the evaluation hasn't devolved into performative theater. To keep tabs on all these biases and to actually connect raw hyperscaler compute to real business ROI, organizations are tapping into a really fragmented ecosystem of specialized observability platforms. For example, you have tools like Langsmith, which is great for deep visual tracing of multi-step agent pipelines. Then there's Arise Phoenix, handling real-time hallucination detection, and MLflow, which teams use for full lifecycle model registries. Managing all this complexity is tough, so the most successful enterprises use a managed open core strategy. They deploy open source architectures like MLflow right onto managed platforms like Databricks, securing that hyperscaler stability while avoiding total vendor lock-in. Finally, Part 6, Runtime Security and Guardrails, Defending the Autonomous Application. We've reached the very top of the stack, runtime security. Modern AI systems are no longer passive predictors. They are autonomous actors. So how do you stop malicious system jailbreaks, prompt injections, or sensitive data leaks? You deploy an independent layer of event-driven guardrails that operate entirely outside the core generative LLM. NVIDIA's NeMo Guardrails is the industry standard for this. It acts as a central routing hub that intercepts the user's prompt before the main AI ever even sees it. Think of this as a defense-in-depth intercept loop. First, the input gets intercepted and routed directly to a specialized safety microservice. This service checks for personally identifiable information and makes sure the prompt is within topical boundaries. Only if it passes that test does the main model actually generate a response. After that, the output is scrubbed by the safety service one more time to ensure the AI didn't hallucinate any sensitive internal data. And crucially, because the security compute is physically segregated into separate microservices, it doesn't introduce unmanageable latency into your app. So, wrapping this explainer up, you really have to ask yourself where your systems stand today. From conquering those massive memory limits with page detention and quantization, to enforcing code as law through immutable registries, to securing autonomous agents with independent guardrails, mastering this exact journey up the stack is literally the only way to survive in a true enterprise production environment. The real question is, are you ready to build systems that scale?